message to the portal, it must be received. Situations where they are not received, the law is saying you cancel. There are implications, and the enemy could use it for his own goal. For instance, if an opponent sees that his rival is very, very popular in a particular place, tendency is to go jam the network. Tendency is to block. Tendency is anything could happen. In fact, most of us that talk or interpret all these things on the media, particularly on the electronic media, we seem to forget there are occasions when we invite personalities to come and talk on program, and they are talking online, they are talking via Zoom, and suddenly they say, there are some technical glitch or technical problem. Let's settle it. We come back right away. What are you saying? That is technical glitch. It could happen with the kind of technology that we practice. You know, I think we should try and enlarge our political education. It's not everything that the person you see as the opponent is doing that is somehow wrong. If you say you want to have it real time, can we guarantee it nationwide?
But they are also talking about also having the manual.
Yes. When it comes to legal interpretation too, when you go to court, what are you going to show as an evidence? And that's why they are saying, let the form see it here. After all the political agents will be there to sign the form as soon as the result is ready. But you see, the problem we have concerning our political class is that they don't trust each other. The trust deficit is so high. And the moment we begin to have confidence in ourselves, to begin to do things transparently, I think the better for the nation.
Well, a lot to look at. We talk about the advantage and also some of the things that we need to do to test run before we can now say this is a perfect system. We talk about transparency, election transparency, and we talk about the fact that possibly some people are believing that this will reduce litigation. But talking about real time now, that means we still have a lot to do from what you've raised.
Exactly.
But let me come to Matthew. Some are saying that some of these politicians who are skeptical about this electronic transmission are possibly afraid of the new the bill, because it's still being worked on. So the president has not really assented on. So we cannot say it's still work in progress. But do you also subscribe to that belief that some politicians are afraid of this e-transmission, electronic transmission of maybe that is why some are why we have that rowdy session, or some rejecting it because they are quite afraid that they might not win 2027 election.
Well, before going into that, if you remember very well, a fortnight ago on this same program, I was expressing my concern on the timing of the Electoral Act, not even knowing that this kind of controversy was going to trail the passage or the passage of the law by the National Assembly. However, let me point out something. The problem we have in this country is the issue of the mutual suspicion that electorates or the people have towards the leaders or the politically exposed people. Take away the problem or the issue of suspicion. There's nothing wrong in having transfer of the results. In as much as you have a physical or paper document that can actually authenticate whatever is transferred through electronic means. If you have observed our election very well, you discover that most times when you are at the polling units, elections are conducted, people cast their votes, and the votes are counted and recorded on the from ECA. You discover that by the time you get to the next point, where the result sheet will move at one point to the other point, you discover that by the time you get to the next point, you discover that the kind of result you now begin to see will be totally different from what you have seen or what was recorded at the polling unit. Now, if you take away the Senate is saying just because of the challenge we have with internet access, and you cannot close your eyes to this fact. We all know where we battle with. Sometimes ago we wanted to we adopted e-banking, and for this moment you still discover that you make a transaction, you transfer money from your account to a certain account, you discover money will leave your account, and the money that leaves your account will not get to the next person's the receiver's account. That thing still happened to me this weekend. Someone transferred money to me. The money left the person's account. It didn't get to my account. That is to show you the problem, the challenge we still have with our internet facility or internet access. Now adopt it during our elections, where you have high volume of data transfer, high volume of traffic on a particular day. It's not even the whole day that we use for our election. The vote casting is done between the hours of 8 and 2. By the time the voting closes, you count your votes, then you record it into the record sheet or the result sheet. That is the moment the issue of internet comes in, because you can only transfer whatever has been done. You only transfer at the end of the electoral process, at the end of the voting process. Now imagine the number of traffic that we have at that moment, when almost all the polling units across the country are trying to access the internet at the same time. It is almost impossible for you not to have glitches.
We can even talk about this.
But if to get your way around that, if you have a backup, something like a backup, which is what the form EA is all about. That is, after recording the results on the record sheet, then after transferring the results via internet, peradventure something happens along the line, you still have an evidence or a form to resort back to, so that by the time you get to the polling where the result will be recorded, collation center. Now you have your evidence as a backup. Then you have the internet, whatever you have transferred via the internet, to go ahead for you, so that at the end of the day you have. But I'm not saying you should not adopt each transfer. What I'm saying is there is nothing wrong in us adopting each transfer rather than real-time transmission of results. If you adopt real-time transmission of results, in case you have internet glitches, what happens?
Well, let's be mindful the use of our technical language. The issue that has been causing controversy is the issue of the word transfer and transaction.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
The word transfer has been eliminated by the Senate. They have said where e-transmission is not possible, use
the alternative.
Which is from ECA.
Now, if you want, there are 2 ways here. Yes. One is e-transfer, the other one is transmission. Now, when you real-time transmission is the bone of contention here. Now, when you adopt e-transmission or real-time transmission, it means as we are doing the thing, as the process is going on, it must be, at the same time going through the internet you must be sent through the via internet to the net or to the database or to wherever, which will be received at the back end of you.
So Nigerians can always access.
Now that is where the challenge comes in. If you are transferring real time or you are transmitting real time, in cases where there are internet glitches, what happens? And you don't have a backup.
That's why that
is why the Senate has said, okay, you must have a 48
with the end of the
whole thing. I just know, as I said earlier on, I hope and I wish at the end of the day we are able to get a middle ground. That is though the Senate has shifted some grounds, because initially they had said it was not going to be a thing of a law. It was going to be left open to INEC to decide whether to even do. Now they have gone a step further by making it mandatory, by making it a point of law that INEC must adopt e-transfer. Now the next thing is now for the electorate. I'm using electoral advantage because I know the society, whoever is fighting on the other end, they are not fighting for themselves, they are fighting in the interest of the electorate. And I hope the electorate will also be able to see some reasons with the Senate, so that at the end of the day we are able to get a middle ground in such a way that we are able to get this passed into law at the appropriate time, so that by the time we go to the next election, we have a credible, a watertight law that will guide whatever election we want to conduct. So at the end of the day, we'll be able to have a credible election.
Well, what we don't know at this period is that we don't even know whether the president will still have one clause or the other to say, okay, I think you need to work on this, take it back, and return it.
So because let's get there first. Yeah, that's an area we cannot predict.
Yes, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. If the law is passed on time, give room for whatever will happen at the effective end.
This coming week,
we are hoping that
both committees of the
harmonize the whole thing.
Sit down to harmonize it.
Let's fold our hands and look at how it plays out, because it's just less than 13 months to the general election, and we will see what happens next week. Maybe we will still have one or two things to look at, talk about electoral bill, or we will shout and say it is time to move ahead and look beyond the electoral bill. Let's go to the second one and talk about the drama that erupted at the Senate during budget defense. I would like us to look at the one I noticed was the issue of Natasha and the chairman of the House Committee, and we will ask ourselves, as a member of that committee, do you have the right to ask questions, but you have to harmonize everything, because you have a chairman, you have somebody that is overseeing the affairs. But what played out on that day looks like it is maybe they have unresolved matters within themselves. It is what I think the chairman will have said, okay, you have something to ask. Okay, please, let's do it in a short time and let's move on. But it became a drama between them. How do you see? That's the way so you won't turn the Senate or the National Assembly to a house of drama, because that's what it looks like. Every week there's one drama or the other.
Well, let me start by saying that either that of Natasha or that of the Minister of Works, when he presented his budget proposal before the Senate Committee on Works, which transpired between Senator Hanga, who temporarily chaired the committee in place of Senator Barinada from Rivers, who's supposed to be the chairman of that committee, and the verbal dispute that ensued between him and Senator Peter Nwayeboyi from Ebonyi State. You see, one thing should be clear: when you are in any of these chambers of the National Assembly, you should rise above the level of partisan politics. That those who are representing, yes, they have they have constituents. However, at that level of budget defense, they are not representing, so to say, their constituents. They are representing Nigeria, because the budget proposition that all these ministers are bringing affect not only their constituents, it affects every constituent in Nigeria.
Well, before we continue, I think we have a short video on the drama. Let's have a short clip, like 30 minutes of it, 30 seconds, sorry, of that video of sound, and we'll be right back. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
I can present over this meeting. You can. That is the protocol. You know. You can't. Thank you. I'm also a principal officer. You can't say so. You are book leaking your voice. You are book leaking. You are book leaking. You are book leaking your voice. Yes, I'm putting the fact. I'm putting the fact on the real party. Please. Don't put me down. Okay, order the 2 weeks.
Sir, do we leave for executive session?
No. That's fine.
Thank you all of us. You see, they ask questions. See, they all ask questions. They are just praising the minister. You should allow us to spend here. Excuse me.
Distinguish.
Excuse me. I was elected with 10 times your vote. I came through election. So what do you have with the party? Ruling party was elected to
Senator Ogoye, I agree with you. You have the floor and you use your time. Well, it's okay.
Even when you have the floor, you can't debate open here.
Senator Ogoye.
You are just a hitman. No.
Honorable police, whatever we do.
Yeah, you're welcome back. Yeah, you saw it there. One of the, the drama we spoke about in during budget defense, and one part to look at that you can also talk about, or we were talking about, is that these are members of the National Assembly. And it's not between those that came to defend the budget of their ministry, but members. Like there are issues among some of those people as a member of the Senate, and unresolved issues, and that have to play out during one budget defense or the other. Let me go back to Dara David before Matthew comment on this. Now, we were talking, just like I mentioned, possibly there are a lot of unresolved issues between these members, and unfortunately it has to play out here, and it seems it's one issue of power tussle. That's what I think. That's the way I want to see it, because I don't really know why members will now do this in front of a lot of people who are not even members of the National Assembly.
You see, in this short clip that we watched, it was a presentation of defense of budget by the Minister of Works, Dr. David Imai. There was in the church, you will find out that a man was standing, speaking at the top of his voice, and that is an APC representative from Eboin. is APC. Actually, he was eulogizing, praising the Minister of Works, who happens to come from his state. While the chairman of that committee is standing on behalf of the chairman, is the vice chairman. But the main chairman, who is an APC man, was reportedly indisposed. So he stood by. Incidentally, he's not from the ruling party. He's from the NNPP, Kanu, Senator Hanga. The grounds of the man from Egon is the fact that he was not giving him maximum time that he gave Senator Oshiomhole. That was what he was saying, that you gave Senator Oshiomhole almost more than 15 minutes, and I have not spoken up to 5 minutes, and you are calming down. No, it will stand. And the moment the chairman was saying no, the man's anger was erupted, saying yes, I'm equally in a position to stand on behalf of the chairman more than you. You are not from the ruling party, all of these things. I think the bone of contention, when you watch that of Natasha too, he was equally asking for time, which the chairman never gave to him. I think when you get to this hallowed chamber, these people should forget party affiliation, the party differences. They should realize that they are representing Nigeria, and on this particular issue that they are displaying their differences, it should not be, because the interests of the various constituents in the country are being represented. So they need further political education, further consciousness of how they need to conduct themselves in public, because most of them don't realize that all of these things will get to public ear. And how do you want people to access this?
I believe they do, but possibly they don't want to care.
Even they need was even telling them that they should remember that the thing was being conducted in the public that is, it was not
that they really want to care about
that goes to show you what happens anytime or when they have their meetings behind closed doors. That is to show you what happens there. For them to have done this in the full glare of the public, it goes to show you what happens when the public is not looking at what they are doing.
But looking at this, what do you think the Senate, the National Assembly should do in cases like this? Maybe there is a punishment or any fine, or because it becomes, just like I mentioned, I know it's part of what we call democracy. It is when we have drama, when some people oppose a particular bill or a point of order or whatever, but the fact that it gets to a level where it becomes altercation, where it becomes it becomes petty, I think it is something that the House should do. They have there's a department.
Every legislative house has a department that is meant or that handles punishments, that issue out punishments to whoever goes against the law or the settings or the ethics of the house, which is the chief whip, headed by the chief whip. But what the problem we have in this country is we politicize almost everything. Anything that should not even be politicized, we try to politicize it. This is one of the most important or most critical aspects of the 2026 budget. And even the organization is jettisoning the elections without sitting. For God's sake, you are trying to vet or you are trying to scrutinize the budget of the Ministry of Works, which is one of the major ministries that is handling one of the major projects in the country, where a large chunk of our resources is being funneled into. We are scrutinizing the ministry that is handling one of the most expensive road projects, if not in Africa, that is the coastal road. And we are not able to scrutinize, to vet or to look at the budget, to look at the papers up to the last cover that is going to be spent in 2026. All you care about is whoever who is being given certain time to speak more, who is being given, and even when they give you time, when they are given time to speak on, most of the times the issues they discuss, what they talk about, all they do is to preaching, to try to patronize the officials of the government with words, rather than looking at the books, trying to look at figures, trying to look at how is this money going this way, why have you decided to spend this money in this way, why have you decided to allocate this to this, rather they focus on mundane things, they degenerate to the things that they should not even that should not be brought to the front burner is what they fight over. So I don't know, maybe the National Assembly has been constituted today needs a lot of things to do as regards the issue of the way our honorables, our senators conduct themselves at the National Assembly. The issue of Natasha Akpoti, I don't know how long we continue to overflog. For God's sake, aren't they tired of all this Natasha thing, Natasha this, Natasha that? Every time they should allow her to do her work. If she's going against the ethics of the house, there should be a punishment that should be meted out to her, that everyone will see that she has been given the punishment that is due her, the punishment that she deserves. She has been served the punishment she deserves, rather than degenerating into things that should not, mundane things.
And sometimes it looks like someone who you have a cross with, and you wait till at that time you are the chairman of and act it like this is the time I want to show you that your pound of flesh. Yeah, it sometimes play out like that. Or it's like, just like you said, I think a lot of investment should be looked at in the area of political education, and we can say that these are the politicians. It might not really work, but we just have to start from there and see how it plays out. It cannot continue.
I think the school of legislative studies schools, I think based in Ilorin, this is a time that they should begin to see how they want to do trainings or workshops.
They organize at the beginning of every legislative year. They organize, they go on workshops, they go on seminars. And sometimes they even go outside the country for seminars and all that. But by the time they come back, those things we have learned, and also those seminars don't reflect in their conduct.
Well, let's move to the next one. And this week seems we have a lot of dramas, we have a lot of controversies and things that affect when we talk about the national development, and also to we are now talking about differences, political differences and all. Let's move to this one and talk about the tension that erupted over the alleged attempted arrest of El-Rufai. We've had El-Rufai has been in the news, and he was a ministerial nominee, and at the end of the day, one thing led to other. It was not considered, was not approved by the National Assembly, and since then we heard about the issue of moving defection. At the end of the day, he was criticizing the present administration. Some are saying he's not being objective, some are saying it's because he's not a member of the cabinet. That's why he's been doing all this. And there's also been talk about him being tried as a former governor, that he has some also answers to, he has some questions to answer. But this happened, and I saw the video, I saw the clip. A lot of people were rallied around him, but one thing I have is still talking about the drama in the Senate. I believe at this period, some things, when we want to do it, if truly there was an attempt to arrest him, I think we don't need to, people around should panic or be apprehensive, because of this is a public place, not so public, but then airport or so. But I want to believe that people that are traveling, people that are coming in. You know, this is another drama thing that we just create, and people will look at it that, you know, why? It's quite unnecessary. If you want to arrest him, there are better ways, which I want to believe. But doing it in the public domain does it really, you know, portray us well?
If you want to look at the image it portrays for Nigeria, it's not a good thing that we are arresting a former public figure when he has not been given the knowledge or any kind of
notice,
warrant of arrest. However, I learned that while he was away in Cairo, EFCC had visited his house, that is being invited for his interrogation, and they dropped the message for him at his Kano residence also, and they promised that as soon as he comes, it will. But we don't know what has transpired between then and now, because on Wednesday, when he was purported to be under siege, he was coming from Cairo, Egypt, and so people thought, and then secondly, his international passport was alleged to be seized. I don't know how far I only read this. Whether it was purportedly taken or it was not taken, I don't know. But that was what we read as what transpired during the siege at the Nnamdi Azikiwe airport in Abuja. However, you see, there is nothing that happens in terms of what the security wants to do with El-Rufai that the issue of politics will not be right into it. Now it's no longer within the ruling party. He's seen as an arrowhead of ADC, which is clamoring to unseat the current ruling party. Nigeria, anything you do, whether you are doing it right or you are doing it wrong, people will read meaning to it. However, whatever that needs to be done, I am an advocate of legitimate freedom for every Nigerian. Citizen should be seen to enjoy his freedom. Our freedom should not be cut short so suddenly. He has the freedom of movement. He has the right to demand, why are you arresting me? Those are the things that the authorities or the security agents must address, so as not to continuously give Nigeria a bad name in the area of infringement of human rights, because it has ratings in the world. And those are particularly when you do such things in a place that is so sensitive as the international airport of Nigeria. It connotes so many things within the international space. Even if you don't talk, those who are traveling out, those who are within, they will have read meanings to it. So we have to watch it.
Let me come to Matthew because of our time. Now, looking at this, this is not the first time we've had a scenario like this or something like this play out. And I know that the court has over time, frowned at this kind of way operation. Now it continues. Do you also think that EFCC police need to find another way, better way to carry out their operation, and we will not continue to put Nigerian name on the wrong map or the wrong notion, where people will believe that we continue to, or the security agency continue to infringe on the right of citizens.
But I believe this is also another episode at our penchant at playing to the gallery, and also a kind of a recurrence of our decision to always put the cart before the horse. It's only in this country that you first arrest before you carry out the investigation. Most often times, you see SCC arresting politically exposed people. Then, after arrest, they do some kind of interrogation. Then, after a while, you discover that the whole thing will just fade away. It shows you that it's just an attempt to play to the gallery. If you want to arrest El-Rufai, is it someone that is very someone that is synonymous, that you cannot always get without trying to show some kind of a braggadocio at the nation's airport, where you have a whole lot of people trying to, just imagine the kind of thing that would have created. Just imagine the kind of or even to some extent trauma for some people. Just imagine you are at an airport, you want to board, you want to get out of you are traveling
one of the safest places,
which one would have expected that things like that should not occur. And you just you see people trying to harass, trying to come in around for security. You just imagine the number of security officials that must have been deployed to that airport to effect that kind of arrest. And the kind of signal that we send to those that maybe people that come to Nigeria for some things, some business, and they are trying to travel back to wherever their destination is. I think it is high time we stop this issue of trying to honestly show that we are in control. We want to do this and all that. If you have been
to fight corruption,
everybody wants. We have been clamoring that corruption is one of the bane of our nation. It's one of the bane of our country. But if you are trying to fight corruption, fight it in such a way that people will know that indeed you are fighting corruption. It will not be misconstrued that you are trying to wish harm some people. We all know El-Rufai is the figure of the opposition as far as Nigeria is concerned. He's one of the major figures of the opposition party. And why should it be at this time that you want to say you want to arrest him? He has been out of power for almost 3 years now. You have not found him. You have those allegations or those things you want to arrest him for. It did not come to you since that time that he has been out of power. Why is it now that he is trying to lead the opposition party that you are now trying to say? I'm not saying they should not arrest him. Of course, if he has been found wanting in some certain areas, he should be arrested and he should be made to face the law. But don't make it look as if you want to wish on him.
All right. Because of our time, we're still talking about alleged attempted arrest at the airport. So we're just looking at if truly, and we are not ruling out the fact that it could be just an attempt or rumor of planned arrest. Let's move to the next one. Another very interesting one where you talk about this has been the news over the past 1 year, and we talk about it. It resurfaces again. It comes back, and NAFDAC is saying that no, we are banning this. But one way or the other, somebody come out that to talk about the fact that the federal government is suspending it. But this period, NAFDAC is saying no, and the story is federal government suspends Sache Aqua ban, order NAFDAC to halt enforcement. And NAFDAC is saying that they are debunking the suspension rumor, insisting that Sache Aqua ban stands. This has been on for a very long time. Now we're having this comeback again. A lot of people, were saying, or some Nigerians over the last 2 weeks, saying that it's a very good move. But in the news yesterday, day before yesterday, and yesterday we saw the news that federal government is halting the ban. Why NAFDAC is saying no? It's just a rumor. Now, what are you taking away from all these things? And we've had protests. The first time day that INEC announced the ban, we had protests. Now yesterday, we had protests again. People are saying that NAFDAC should obey the order of the federal government. What do you take out of this? I think we should always have one position on matters like this, and also especially the fact that this continue to be like some people are interested in the fact that this alcoholic sale must continue to go on, despite the health talk on it.
A situation where transparency or the interests of certain set of people reigns over the interest of the larger people. This is what you get. You see, you must, at least when we get direction of where statements are being made, we should begin to interrogate who is issuing the ban from the federal government. A purported special advisor from the office of the Secretary of State to the federal government. Now that is established by statute. And the question to ask, is it economic cost that takes over the public health, the public interest? What is the issue what are the issues that mean this matter? We are talking about public health, we are talking about public interest, we are talking about underage access to abuse of drug. Which one should take the larger interest? These are the things we should examine. When I looked at the whole scenario and I looked at the bump of NAFDAC, I think you want to stay with NAFDAC. Because when you look at how our society is, the way we are, the danger, all these things that we are, the NAFDAC is saying has done to public health in Nigeria, you will know that obviously it is not the money that is the issue. How many people have been sent to sudden graveyard in this country as a result of these things that we are saying? Because people are not well educated about how to maintain their natural health. And so anything goes, they go for it. But even the fight that NAFDAC is fighting has to do with underage access to drug abuse.
It's not totally about...
It's not totally, and that is public health. So me, I want to stay in the middle. I have not seen anything to say NAFDAC should not work. Well, because the federal government has not reacted.
Yeah, Matthew, let's look at it from this angle. Are you possibly looking at it from the angle that federal government, possibly, if this is true, that they are trying to suspend or trying to halt the suspension? Now, do you see in a way where federal government is just trying to patronize and the buyers by trying to avoid protest? Because Nigerians can, when they like something and you are taking it away from them, you will have those who are patronizers trying to raise one protest or the other. Well, are you seeing it this way?
Well, I'm not even sure it is even about the issue of trying to placate Nigerians. I think it's about the economic aspect of the whole thing. Now, the arguments for and against the ban on sachet alcoholic drinks has been largely ambivalent, depending on the wavelength at which you are looking at it. To those who are in the business, that is those making alcoholic beverages in sachet, they believe it's about economic gain. They believe the issue of alcoholic drinks in sachet is about trying to meet the needs of those who cannot afford to buy alcoholic drinks in bottles. If you go around towns, you see the number of alcoholic sachet brands that we have. You know that this is actually a huge economy.
And even every meter, the 5 kilometers
at the rate or the preponderance of the joints or places where you find these drinks. Now we are not the federal government is now torn between protecting the public health, protecting the future, protecting the youth against abuse of alcoholic drinks. Because if you want to buy an alcoholic drink rather, and you can afford to buy it with just 100 naira, with just 200 naira, the rate at which you buy it will be different from
even the rate
if you have
consumption.
If you have, and even the rate, and if you buy, the reason why you are buying it is to consume. It's not, you are not buying it to wash your body. You are buying to consume.
They are not buying the product.
They
are banning that category. It's not to
say. That is where I'm going.
What I'm saying now is the ban, and
it is more profitable. It is more profitable to those producing these drinks.
They are looking at
to produce the drinks in sachet than in bottles, because the rate at which people consume alcoholic drinks in sachet is higher than the rate at which they consume in bottles. It is very difficult for most people to buy in bottles.
Well, we will continue this argument about this and this discussion at the end of this program, and you can also do that at home, and also for the last one, which you can also discuss about Fubara Tax Commissioners Assembly awaits new nominees. We will also continue that within ourselves there. That's the show this morning. We thank you for joining us, and if you do enjoy this edition, join us again next week, Friday, where we'll be discussing different topics. Possibly we will still have one of these, retain one or two of these if it's one of the prominent for next week. Till then, enjoy the rest of your day.
Before we go, I just want to, this is Reporters Lounge. Don't forget we had a passage of one of us. I want to say condolences to the family of Alhaji Akim Olorade Akitunde. We missed him on this. We are taking part on this program. So also is one of the doyens, icons of public service in Ogun State, and that's a one-time Secretary to the State Government of Ogun State, who nurtured Ogun State up to 50 until the pardon on Saturday, Otumba Oshokoya, a one-time Secretary to the State Government and Edo.
Yeah, media so continue to read in perfect peace. Join us again next week, and we'll be here. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend. Bye for now.